Welcome to the Visionaries Only Podcast, presented by Energy 11 and hosted by me, Jay Thomas. This is episode 8 with Atika Greene, a brilliant actress and someone I hold in high regard because of her commitment to her dreams. We cover a lot in this conversation: her first big break on HBO's Insecure, the disappointment you deal with being a full-time actress, mental health struggles, staying true to her art form, and of course, loving the process. I know you'll enjoy this conversation, and if you do, please stop right now and like this video or rate us on Apple or Spotify. Go ahead, do it now. I'll wait. Did you do it? Okay, thank you. Now, off to the episode. I was doing a lot of homework on you, even though I've known you for some time now. And the first thing that jumped out at me when we first met, which was at an audition for the show that I was putting together with a friend of mine back in the day, alumni. Uh, the thing that jumped out at us was like, Jesus Christ, this woman's talented. We absolutely need her on the show. That was the first thing that jumped out at us. But then going into your background, I didn't know that both your parents were in medicine. They were both paramedics. Did you feel pressure to go into medicine? And how did they react when you wanted to pursue acting in college?
Yeah, I did feel a little bit of pressure because I knew that they were pushing, the stability of that type of career. And I actually went to the same high school my mom went to, which was a health professions high school.
Mm.
Um, but I knew I had no interest in it. But they were, I mean, I always had interest in the art, so I feel like they knew that that was something I was interested in. But like many kids, they have hobbies or interests, so it was just that kind of thing. And then when I went to college and actually studied it, my mom was like, "Oh, like you really like this thing? Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about acting that uh, really calls to you? Because it on the surface it seems like a very very difficult task and profession. Not outside of just like the constant like rejections and like auditioning and that stuff. I'm talking about the actual art of acting. What do you think about? What do you think it is about acting that really calls to you?
Honestly, I love how it's a great space of expression, and I find it very cathartic just to be able to express certain emotions from someone else's perspective that may be similar to mine as well or different. It's just like it's so fun and so freeing just to be able to step into another character and really
Yeah.
live that life for whatever amount of time. Is I don't know. It's just it's a therapy for sure.
Yeah. Uh, when you said that, it made me think of somebody said. Well, I think a lot of people have said this, but they say that Halloween is the only time people actually don't wear a mask. It's like, you know, um, it's like a
Mhm.
cheeky thing to say, right? Yeah, like real deep, right? Um,
Yeah.
when you think of the characters you've played, is there is there something that you have to connect with internally? Like, is there something you always have to attach yourself to with a character, or can you play someone who you can understand their motives, but you would never in a million years do what they do?
Yeah, I mean, yes, like it's so fun to play like villainous characters sometimes. Because I'm not necessarily like I don't feel like I'm a villain, but I might be a villain in someone's story. I don't know. But
Right.
I think it's like it's cool. It's like kind of dope to step into that, but also um I think the funny thing about you saying like I would never in a million years live that out. I think that's the fun part about like you said the Halloween thing. Like you get to be whoever, and
Yeah.
this may not be my everyday, but there's a part of me in here some kind of way. It's just like in every joke there's some seriousness in there, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I feel like yeah, it's stepping into a different side of myself, and kind of lets me get to know myself a little more, like what can I actually what characters can I actually portray, or what's more challenging for me?
I actually felt that pretty intensely when I don't dress up for Halloween, but if I had to dress up, it would absolutely 100% be Heath Ledger's Joker. And I have to ask
Mm.
myself what part of me is drawn to Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
Like, is there a part of me that wants to be an anarchist and just watch the world burn? I don't know. Maybe there's maybe
Be
or it could
careful.
be
You
a
see what happened? Like that was a role where,
yeah. I'm
like,
growing the hair for it. I'm growing the hair for it. So yeah, it might
it's got to go green now.
just go great. Um,
Yeah. Hey.
you know, as brilliant of an actress as you are, by the way, is it right to say actress or actor, or are they interchangeable? I don't know.
You know, it's so funny to me. I feel like people ask me this question all the time, and I think it's the funniest question ever because like other actors would be like, it's whatever, but it's just funny because people always want to get it right. But I get it. I get it. um, like I say, I'm an actor. You know, it isn't the actress. Sure, like it depends if it's a cat. If y'all putting me in a nomination for some Emmy Awards or something, yeah, outstanding actress. But
Right.
you know, actor is a unisex term, so it's all good.
Got you. And that soon come. I could see you on
Absolutely.
an award stage. I could see that. I told you that before.
Right.
I told you that in person to your face. I definitely said
Yeah.
that. Um,
I received
yes. So there's a section of the actor community. Now, granted, I don't know how big this section is, but there's a section of the actor community that didn't go to school for acting. They didn't go to school for drama. And I don't know whether it's better to go to school for acting, whether it's to just learn through experience. But I'm curious from your perspective, like what do you think is the best thing you actually learned from going to acting school, to a conservatory in particular?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I feel like it taught me a lot of structures. Like at that time, especially like when I was graduating, I feel like it was before the pandemic, obviously, and it was just like, you know, we were going in for auditions and things like that. So it was a lot of structure and technique and um just like terminologies that I didn't even know, or things like that, like how to really show up in the audition space or in that world outside of a school perspective. I think that's really what it was. But to piggyback on what you were saying, or to just jump into what you were saying about, you know, whether to go to school or not, I think like it really just depends because there are some people who are just super talented and they never went to a conservatory or anything like that. And there are others who just maybe need a little more sharpening or just need that, you know, extra training to get them where they need to get. So, but I think, you know, Denzel Washington always says it like, you know, you're always a student. So whether it's conservatory, whether it's like a class from someone that, you know, you're going to learn something that you're going to grow as an artist, I think that's just important to like work on that craft of it anyway.
Yeah. Could you tell if someone went to
Mm.
school for it? Like if you were in an audition, like on the other side of the table watching somebody, you think you could tell?
You know, and I think not. I think that goes back to like, you know, there are some super talented people who just woke up talented, or they was on the street and like, oh shit, like they're really, you know. But I think that when I do see really, really talented actors perform, and then I look at their resume, if they didn't go to school, it's like, oh shoot, they didn't go. Like I'm like, wow, that's good. But if they did, it's like, oh yeah, they went to Yale, they went to junior. Okay, it makes sense, kind of thing. So it depends. It depends.
You know what made me laugh about what you said too, because you ever watch like it's usually in black sitcoms. There's always an episode where somebody like off the street knows how to sing really good, and they're doing something like really. So they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, right? They're like mopping or something like that, and they're like humming, and the person's like, "Huh, you could sing a little bit," and then the main character gets like dollar signs in their eyes, and they're like, "I could take you to the top," and then, like, I don't know why that just came to my head.
Yes. I wish it was that easy. Oh my goodness. The amount of times I tried to sing and clean off something and nobody was listening. It ain't that easy. But no,
It
yeah,
is not
absolutely.
that
That always
easy.
happens.
It's to just get discovered, like while you're, like you're being,
I wish.
like you're passionately arguing with a waiter, and they're like, "You ever considered acting? I'm the head of a major studio."
Right.
Yeah. Um,
Yes. I definitely thought that would happen when I came to California.
no.
Yeah. Anyway,
Speaking of California, speaking of moving to California, you are the second person that has been on this show. Katema being the first one. He's on episode 3. You are the second
oh
person
nice.
to leave New York and go to LA. I don't take it personal that you left us in New York. I won't take it personal. You went to follow your dreams. You didn't go to just hang out. But you went to LA, and how long have you been there now?
This is my 7th year.
Seventh year. And
Mhm.
Katema talks a lot about uh him like feeling lonely in LA because a lot of people are just trying to make it, right? And it doesn't feel like maybe you're getting like as many genuine relationships, and maybe it was a lot tougher than he even anticipated. So I ask you the same question I asked him, which is uh what's something you wish you knew before coming to LA that you know now, being 7 years in?
I think I would go into like what he said as well. Like community is huge here. Like just figuring out what that looks like. Also being from a place like we're from New York, so originally you're gonna have friends from different parts of your life, da da da, whatever. But coming here, you really are starting fresh in not only a whole new city, whole new state. It's just
Right.
like finding the community is really the harder part, and I feel like I didn't really start to find that community until maybe like 4 or 5 years in,
Mm.
honestly. And most of my people like are from the East Coast. But I actually joined an improv troupe that my friend started, and that's my core group too. Like so, I've been able to get like communities in different spaces, which has been good. But it takes a little while to kind of build that. And I do feel like in a city like New York, it is a little easier to kind of maybe make more friends or keep those communities going. But also that could just be because I'm from there, so I don't know.
Right, right. You
Yeah.
mentioned the improv group. What what do you think you gain as an actor being in an improv group like that? Because the stuff that you go for is mostly scripted, right? So is there
Mm.
is there something you can get from working in improv that can help you in those scripted uh jobs that you may get later on?
Absolutely. I feel like, being a great performer anyway is just being on your toes. And improv is a space where you are always 100% on your toes. You never know what's next. And you really do have to like sharpen those skills. And even doing scripted work, I do see like I'll be auditioning for something and maybe they might ask for improv or they
Mm.
might say add your own or do a different take or whatever. I have those skills because I practice improv weekly. We have shows often and we just kind of always are sharpening those skills together. So I feel like it's a great skill for any performer to have, honestly. And I do feel the difference as like been doing it more often because I used to really have a fear in my heart of improv, and when doing it in school, I just really felt like I don't know, I would like freeze up or like get
Yeah.
nervous. But I definitely feel a lot more confident in it now.
How'd you deal with that when you first felt those feelings of fear when it comes to improv and then joining an improv group? Like, was it just repetition? Like, how'd you get past that?
Yeah, I think I still struggle sometimes. Like I definitely have a lot more confidence in it because we do it often, but sometimes I get in my head and that's the worst place to be when you're in improv. Like you really have to be present in what's going on. So I feel like the way that I've gotten past some of that is just having a strong support. Like I do trust my tribe members. Like I feel like we got each other's back. Like we really, we help each other out even at shows when some of us maybe whatever feeling this way, whatever that is. Like there's a community, there's that energy of help. So that does, it makes you feel comfortable, like each performer has your back. And then the repetition, like you said, like doing it often. We practice weekly, and we have like, 3 to 4 shows a month sometimes. So keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just keep going. Um,
Yeah.
you you were on one of my favorite shows ever. You were on Insecure, and
Yeah.
I didn't know you were on Insecure, which made it all the more fun when I got to that court scene and saw saw juror number 9 jump up with the Black Lives Matter shirt.
Okay, proceed.
Juror number 9, have you ever testified in any court proceeding?
No.
Do you harbor any bias towards the Los Angeles Police Department?
Actually,
Not buying it.
Yeah.
I was watching it with my girl, and I was like, "Yo, what the?" So I went crazy. Um, what do you remember most about being on that show, and what did that opportunity do for your confidence as an actor?
Oh, these are great questions. What do I remember? I just remember everybody being really nice. I remember like Jay Ellis coming up to me and introducing himself, and I'm just like, I know who you are. I'm like, hi, great. He was just really nice. Like everybody, it was just dope. Like black people everywhere. So like behind the camera, on the screen, of course. And what else do I remember? We had a really late call time. That was like my first television booking ever. So I definitely had some nerves, definitely didn't know what to expect. It was really nice. Just like everybody was really nice, everybody. And then I think that as far as like what it did for my confidence in my career, I actually was able to get that opportunity by myself. Technically, I went to like a casting workshop and kind of connected with the casting associate, and then they called me in for another role previously before that on a different episode. And then for me, that was like one of my big like first auditions. So I was like, oh, grateful on the Sony lot, like, that type of thing.
Like,
And then this one came through. That one felt more like me. So I definitely felt confident. And the casting associate was really nice and helpful in the room as well. It just made me feel like I did the right thing, like as far as moving to California, because I knew I wanted to do television and getting opportunity, especially a show like Insecure, especially being in love with Awkward Black Girl, Issa Rae, like just that whole movement. And, I feel like I really manifested that in the long run because I had been watching her shows in college and like really just studying her journey. And, we've had different connections or run-ins and never thought that would happen in a million years, honestly. But definitely grateful for that role for sure.
man, yeah, I especially like that particular show in particular. Like, if there was a different show,
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity. But Insecure, it meant so much to
I
us. I brought up Insecure with Katema, and he said, I told him that Lawrence was one of my favorite characters of any show ever. And he said, it's because you a Lawrence ass dude. And I was like, what? He made me
That's good that you saw yourself on television.
he made me feel seen. Lawrence made me feel seen, and I'm okay with that.
Okay. It's just
You
what season Lawrence though? Season like 1, 2, 3, 4,
the whole show,
5.
the whole. Every
I'll leave that right there. That's okay.
second,
Every
every
season.
second of
Okay.
that show, the ups
I
and the
love it. I love it.
downs. When he was slumped up on the couch, then when he had to come up, I love that dude.
Okay, Team Lawrence, I see you.
Jay Ellis, if you're hearing this, thank you. Thank you for representing us, man.
Hey, come on, representation, it matters. Let's go.
Man, come on, come on. You were on another show that I had mixed feelings with, not because it wasn't a great show, because it was a great show, but because it hit so deeply to home, and that was Them on Amazon. Um, I didn't see you like actually on the show. I might have missed you on the show, but I saw it was in your credits. Um, what do you remember about the experience on that show? Because that show was it was so gut wrenching at times. So it dealt with so many tense moments that uh any normal human being watching that would feel away, but being black in America, you feel it hits so much deeper. What do you remember about being on that show?
So okay, the them journey. So honestly, that was like my second booking, right? Insecure was 2017 and then was 2019. So it was like some
Mm,
time, ready to be back on set, of course. Going
yep.
back to what you were talking about with improv, like I remember getting called to the lot. We were still going in at this time.
Mm.
And I improv during the audition. It was all improv.
Oh.
So we didn't have a script for our particular scene. Our scene was at the dinner table and like in the house. So it was really kind of more one of the lighter scenes. It wasn't all of that heaviness that was going on, obviously, in the entire show.
Mhm.
So I would just remember us coming to set those couple of days and just, enjoying each other and like, yeah. So, I got to meet Paula J. Parker. She was really nice.
Yeah.
Everybody on set. I remember like the executive producer really enjoyed our scene. I guess it was based on like his something in his life. So he was just saying that we really like nailed it.
Mhm.
Um, that was one of my heartbreak roles because this happens a lot in this industry where you film something, you do things, da, 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 and then it comes out and you're like, where am I? Where am I? So
Oh.
I wasn't I wasn't as featured as I was supposed to be, but
Mm,
it's all good. I see
yeah.
myself real quick and I heard my laugh, and I got paid, so God's good.
Right.
Um, but I did watch the show. Even after that, happened, I did take a little break because I wasn't ready to indulge. But then watching the show and how it came together, definitely like we said, a lot of heavy topics, a lot of things, especially being Black America. But I'm glad to have been a part of the journey of it, and I see like the potential in the show as far as like, you know, a lot of things sometimes don't want to be, or people don't want to see on screen or things like that. But
Mhm.
sometimes some of those stories may need to be told, and I feel like the way that they put the show together, it was very. It made me want to watch it. It made me want to like know more about this. And I know as they continue, next season is supposed to be like it's an anthology series, so they can
Right.
go in a different world, which gives it like space to grow in a different way.
Right.
So I'm interested to see like how it turns out for season two. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And they did a great job. The show is good when it's gut wrenching and it hits home because
Yeah.
it feels authentic. It's super authentic,
True.
and the way they develop some of these like really crazy manifestations of what racism it is sort of like embodies with some of the visuals that
Hmm.
the characters are seeing is
Hmm.
is really disturbing. And I wonder, as an actor, I always think about this when I see scenes like this, and I know you weren't in a heavy scene, but when you are in a scene like that and the the room, or rather the scene, is supposed to be really tense, it's supposed to be really hard. um One, from the perspective of the actor in the scene, is it hard to get yourself into that space, and then when the director yells cut, all right, cool, we got it, let's move on, to get yourself out of it if it's a really emotionally draining scene? Do you need time to like almost vomit up that emotion so you can take on another one?
Right. That's a good question. It depends. It really does depend on what the subject matter is and like how relatable it is. I remember I did a film and it was about police brutality. it's supposed to come out soon, but it's actually in the reverse side, which is supposed to be a thought piece of like, this is what it looks like when justice isn't served on our end, whatever. But during the whole process, the director, she wanted me to watch like some, videos to kind of just get me in that headspace. So I literally spent most of my time like in makeup watching these videos. Da, 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 da. We go ahead and film the scene, and I'm bawling all these things. And then once they actually are finished with the scene, we go into lunch. So that was great. I needed that time to like kind of just decompress. So it really does depend on the subject matter for me. I usually can do like we're good. But if I know it's a heavy scene, I have to cry a lot or anything like that, I definitely need to stay in that space until I film it. And then after, depending on, what I may have used to get there or how relatable and real it was, I might still be might still be balling after, honestly, because it's really emotion. So
Whew, yeah. Hey, I watched
yeah.
what was that? The movie about the Central Park 5. And
Mm,
watching it obviously is painful enough, but I have so much respect for the actors being able to depict these things authentically, because I know that it's hard to take yourself there all the time.
hmm
And then you're shooting, you know, 15-hour days sometimes. So to be in that emotional headspace, I know is tough. And have you ever been in a scenario where you're watching you're watching a scene when on set, you're not in the scene but you're watching it, and you can feel that like it's almost tense in the entire room, like with the directors everywhere. Does that emotion translate off the actual uh space that they're actually acting in? Does it translate off of it into like the people doing lighting? You know what I mean? Like people just watching.
I think it can, honestly. I think it can because, yeah, the subject matter may be heavy. We have to get into this space. So the director, actor, their relationship, they have to figure out what's going to work for them. But also, some of these other people, if you're doing lighting or, gaffing, whatever, you like you are still working in the day. So your energy, I like when the set, yes, you keep that energy on like the actual set, but when you're with the crew and things like that, I feel like you gotta let some of that go because these people are still working. Like you don't want it to affect it, in that way.
Right.
So I feel like a great director, a great AD, they can keep the energy on set where it needs to go. Like the actors, okay, we're in this mode, boom, we're gonna keep you secluded, and let's still give out some good positive energy to the crew because it can affect it's all a collaborative process, so it can affect a lot of things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. One last question about the a vibe on set. We were talking about before we started
yeah.
shooting. Oh God, the name is escaping me. Is it Pray on Me? Did I get it right?
Pray to God.
Pray to God. So the
Yeah.
short film you did, Pray to God. I told you, me and my girl watched it. We got hella into it. Um, I don't remember the gentleman's name, but there was two guys. It was the guy that the guy. I'll put a link to the short in this episode as well. But there's the guy that you first meet when you pull up to the place, and then there's the guy that when you run away and you come back to the house and you're in the spoiler alert, people. I'm sorry. Please watch this before I say this. Before you listen to me say this. The guy that you meet with when you come back inside, um, that
Mm.
had the pajamas on. Those dudes played
Oh yeah, yeah.
creepy really, really well. Like they were so
Really
creepy.
well.
Um, like really, really well. And I
No, for
when I'm
real.
not for real though, like when you see that when you're in that scene, do you actually get creeped out? Like, do you actually feel it? Like, do you ever like get actually creeped out when that happens?
Honestly, we were cracking up at cut. Like we were laughing because he was so into character and I loved it. It was like I'm laughing at you, but also like, I was acting it out. But
Right.
it was funny to me. It was funny. Because he was getting into character and we just kept after we would say cut, we would be like, you killed that. Wow, this is funny.
And you kept doing
Um,
close-ups on
yeah.
his face. The close-ups was killing me. I'm like,
Yes.
bro. Oh
Okay. Yeah.
man.
Exactly. But with
Um,
the first one, though, I feel like it was a little creepy because that he is a rapper and this is like his first time acting Ransom.
mm,
Um, and I was like, well, you killed that because it was great. Like I was freaked out a little bit. The first guy by the car, I was like, okay, yeah, hey. The way he was talking to me, it was naturally creeped out.
when I saw your face, I was like, I don't think Atika acted, man. I think she's genuinely afraid.
Right, because it was weird. It was like, okay. And then he was funny. He's like a funny guy, so he would continue playing the character. So
Oh
I was
man.
like, all right.
No. And
That's
please watch this short. Anyone listening, please watch this short. It is so funny. Like
yes.
you will be scream. I'm telling you, you're gonna be yelling at the screen, run, girl, run! Like you're gonna be doing all of that. I promise you.
It's one of
It,
those, yes.
it's gonna be
Shout out to
hilarious
Play
because
Lotto Studios.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's a really creepy, suspense filled movie, and you will laugh at how crazy your reactions are to everything. Like it really is like that. Um, you have been in way more fights on film than I thought you would have been. Um, uh, and it got me to thinking. What do you think, in your opinion? In your opinion, what do you think makes for a believable fight?
mm, that's good. I think what makes for a believable fight is the victim control and reaction. So the person who's getting hit, like for them to really sell the hit, sell
Mm,
the reaction, because that's like what we learn in stage combat is like it's the person who's attacking is never really attacking. They're just giving you the best, and the person who's getting attacked, they're taking it so much that I am, that I just was mad dramatic for doing that, but.
yeah.
But anyway, I just watching myself like, why would you choke yourself and go do the whole thing? Anyway, such an actor. But yes, the victim control does sell it.
Love it. Yeah, I watched you. I watched you fight a young man on a roof in the I think it's
I
called
did.
Enemy. Uh,
Yes.
I saw you fight a young man on a roof, and I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I was rooting for you like you was actually in a fight. Like Atika, hit him,
Yeah.
hit him.
Okay, right. Because he was taking my phone. I need that phone.
Yeah, bro. When you told
Yeah.
him, "Give me my fucking phone," like I was like, Jesus, okay, give her her phone. Like she's like, Jesus.
Right.
Um,
Just give me my phone.
um I
That's funny.
one of the things I think about a lot with acting, which is kind of synonymous with acting, is obviously auditioning, and the uh, then a lot of rejection. And acting is such a vulnerable sport because I imagine the idea of you going into this room full of people meant to judge you, and you're giving everything you can to a performance, and they say, okay, thank you, and then you get nothing from them. And some sports are more physical, but acting takes such an emotional toll on you. And first I want to know, from somebody who's been doing this for so long, uh, how do you deal with rejection at this point versus how you dealt with it earlier?
Hmm. I don't know. Rejection. That is the big word for real.
Yeah.
I think that it's still a day to day thing because it just depends on the project or like the effort or whatever. But I am learning to kind of just take it for what it is. Like this is an opportunity to act. I'm trying. I'm not always successful in that area, but this is an opportunity to act. Okay, they didn't pick. I might have gave a great performance, but they didn't pick me because maybe I remind them of this person, or I just don't look like this person, or whatever the things are. So many politics, and after like I feel like being in the industry and watching certain people book certain things or whatever, it's not about talent either. So I really am working on just the shift in my mindset on that. And this year I do plan on creating some of my own things just because I feel like, you know, my voice is meant to be heard too, and I can't continue to wait on other people to give me that opportunity to say or speak or whatever. But it's a day to day. It's day to day. It's opportunity by opportunity. But it's definitely getting better. Like I've been getting a lot of bigger opportunities audition wise, and I really just do it and rip it up and move on. Honestly,
Yeah. You do what you could do and then just leave it right there.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
try not to get too attached because that's when you break your own heart. Honestly.
Yeah, because this is this thing that you care so much about, and the the idea of being judged and not getting chosen for something outside of your control is, I think, the most frustrating part. I think even people outside of acting can relate to that when it comes to like applying to jobs. Myself, like
Yeah.
you apply to these jobs and then they don't get back to you, or they say no, even if you absolutely killed it. And um I guess you have to be so satisfied with the journey and so satisfied with what you can control, that at the end of the day you just let go and let God, right?
That part, yeah. Learning to love the journey seems to be like that. That's a task in itself too. But I feel like that's really what it's about. And a lot of the greats do talk about that as well. I know a friend of mine. We always talk about how Viola says that she wish she enjoyed the journey more. Because then once you get into the industry, you are kind of you're just going, you're just going, you're just going. But at this stage, we get to create our own podcast or our own short films or whatever that looks like. So yeah.
um the late great Chadwick Boseman said something in this sit down that always stuck with me, because I'm fascinated with actors and the art of storytelling. He said that Hollywood makes acting seem really glorious, but it's really, if you're an actor, it's really more of a blue collar job. Do you agree or
Mm.
disagree with that?
Hmm. I like that. That's interesting. Um, I think I can agree. I get the sentiment because I'm even thinking about Denzel said something like this too. Like I'm on TV playing a garbage man, but I'm not. I'm doing this character kind of thing. So because it is work. It's just work. You know what I mean? And sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. But into the industry or to people outside the industry, it is kind of glorified. It's this thing of like only the few get the chance to whatever, but we
Yeah.
get it. We can act in any capacity. You might not be Chadwick Boseman, but you could be whoever else, you know what I mean? And just still get to do the work and still get to make money and still make a living acting. So I can agree to that. I can see some the points in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that though.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are working 12-hour days, working through sometimes
Literally.
harsh conditions sometimes,
Literally.
you know. If you do your
Yeah.
own stunts, you I mean, I saw you doing your own stunts. He was fighting that young
Yeah, I
lady,
love
then
it.
she stabbed you. She stabbed you with a poison
Yes, I
knife.
love stunts.
Yeah.
Hmm. I'm into it. Yeah.
Would you do a like a full-fledged action film?
I would love to. I would love
Yeah.
to.
Dang.
Yeah, I want to be a Woman King too. So.
Oh, that would be sick.
Yeah.
That would be. God, make it happen.
Yeah, that's my goal. Come on,
No, no.
okay. Right, we said it today on Visionaries Only. Come on.
Make it happen, please. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Uh, see, and
Because
I'm playing this clip when that come out. I'm playing this clip.
okay, I already know. Hey, I've been in the gym and out there like, what's your goals? I'm like, to be a Woman King too.
Talk about it.
I've just been saying it.
Straight like that.
But yeah, I love action. I studied karate. I did like stage combat in school and stuff like that, and I'm really into it. So I definitely want to sharpen some of those skills. Get back in the lab there too.
That's why you look like you could whoop ass, man. Like you look comfortable when you, especially like your block. Your block looks so legit. Cause like she came with the
Somewhat.
swing, and you came with the like. It wasn't even like a lean block. Like it was like a straight L block. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so legit. I'm telling you, your fight. I'm gonna put the fight scenes in in this episode. I'm gonna put them in so people can see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Strong.
Yes, yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Let
Um,
us some pent-up aggression. Okay.
yeah. I watched one of the videos you uploaded to YouTube around mental health, and I mean I loved it. I mean you as an actor, I guess maybe you're accustomed to being vulnerable, but everything you were saying really hit me, and I know what motivated it. You spoke about it in the YouTube video. You talked about struggling with your own consistency, struggling with motivation, struggling with sort of like the ebbs and flows um, of pursuing this dream. And I'm curious, where are you now? Because I think that video came out at the time of this of us recording. That video was 4 months ago. So I'm wondering how you're feeling now, and also how are you now, like actively trying to keep yourself consistent? Do you have any tips and tricks that you've implemented into your own life that might be helpful for others?
Yeah, I'll answer that one first. I think that investing in myself, that is a tip and a trick because I don't like to waste money. So, as I mentioned, I have a trainer now, and consistency in working out is something that's directly related to my mental health. Just know when I'm working out and I'm my healthiest, I feel better mentally as well. So, investing in things that I know are going to help with that, and collaborating, not feeling like I have to do everything by myself. There are a lot of goals that I have set for myself for the year, but I know that everything I want to accomplish on this list, I don't have to be the only one to do it by myself. So I am really putting my hands out and asking for help, and that's different as well. So those two things have been helping with the consistency, and also I've also started therapy since that video. And I definitely have gone to therapy in the past, but I really want to be consistent with that as well, with the physical and mental health, those two things. Um, yeah, that's really been helping. And honestly, I also have been putting out a little bit more content on social media about motivation or different things, because most of the things I'm saying is like encouraging for myself. But like you said, it did resonate with you, which I'm glad to hear. Just hearing that I'm not alone in certain spaces or feeling alone about certain, ideals I have or whatever. It's great to just know I have community outside of artists too, because I meet people. We all do the same thing, so we have similar things, but also just kind of connecting to people that I wouldn't even know would like be connected to what I'm saying, and that's just helped me because I want to inspire others to do things as well. So I feel like I'm inspiring myself, also inspiring other people, and I'm doing it in that for that and that energy, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah, that's why I loved what you said in that video, and it was like straight, no filter. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I feel, and I loved it because
Yeah.
um, you're right. Like that investing in your mental and physical health, it pays dividends. Like it can change your life in a really short period of time. And
Yeah.
I resonated with it because I recently found out that when when certain people don't I have certain people in my life who are a little afraid to admit that they're going through some stuff. And it was only until I acknowledged that, listen, I'm scared, I am nervous, I'm all of these emotions when it comes to starting my own business, when it comes to doing this podcast. Like I feel all of those feelings. It's the is moving in spite of it that is really the key for me, and just not stopping even if I have to make a little step um every day. It's fine with
Mhm.
me as long as I'm pointed and I'm moving in the right direction. And it wasn't until I acknowledged that they started to open up and say like, damn, I didn't know you felt like that. Like I feel like that more times than I care to admit. And that's why I loved what you did with that
Mhm.
video, because um, I think sometimes we we almost have to give permission for people to feel these feelings out loud and let them know that they're not alone.
Mhm.
Because man, what feeling the feelings is enough, but feeling like you're the only one that feels those feelings, that's where it gets real tough.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's we are pushed away from our vulnerability and that type of authenticity. So it's refreshing just to have others open up and be vulnerable in that space too. And like, you ain't alone. We all we all feel the same, honestly.
We all feeling that stuff. You mentioned doing
Mhm.
more on social. I talked to this singer that I know, Linda Starr, who's an independent artist. She's fantastic, and she talks about. I asked her about the everything outside of music, right? Because as an independent artist, it feels like you have to do all of these other things outside of your actual art to maintain relevancy, build an audience. And I'm wondering, for you as an actor, does it take away from a little bit of your artistry and your creativity as an artist, or does it actually complement it? Having like sort of uh doing social media stuff like maybe adding to a trend, maybe putting your twist on something that's funny, you know what I mean, like having an opinion about something that might be uh provocative in a way to consistently build your audience. Like is that something that actually supports your creativity as an actor?
I think it does. I don't like go against the grain and like fight it. Like I know a lot of artists and actors feel that way. But it's going with the times. Like there are NAACP awards for people on social media now, which is crazy.
Live on
So I
stage.
think that, yeah, right. So it's just like it's really cool. Like everything is kind of just changing, and the only way I'm gonna be able to be a part of this industry is if I continue to change with it as well. So I think it's just finding ways that it works to my benefit, because they are still looking at some of those things, even for some of the jobs that I've gone out for commercially or whatever. They're always asking about social media and things like that. It's
Really?
relevant what it is. So if you do have a platform, it is a good time to like showcase some of those things because you really never know who's watching or who's, the same people that we want to get in contact with. They have a phone just like us and social media just like us. So I don't let it bother me. I just try to use it as best as I can.
What role have you seen social media now play in some of these jobs now? Like, are they looking at people with the bigger audiences for these roles over people with like no social media presence or a smaller audience?
Sometimes, yeah, it's it gets real crazy in Hollywood, honestly. Like, especially commercially, like because that's a selling thing as well. Like that's kind of how the influencer market started to grow because of the pandemic and stuff like that. So a lot of the budgets they were putting into commercials, they're putting into the influencers. So if you already come with your audience and come with people with, that are going to follow you, of course they're going to be more inclined to kind of hire you because you're bringing them to our brand as well. But yeah, they definitely have been given to people with more followers before it's happened.
Interesting. Interesting. I think it makes sense that
Yeah.
that would be the case, but I don't think I ever thought of it that like it was that intentional. I can't
Yeah.
imagine it's the same with like commercials and stuff like that, right?
Well, that's where I've seen it mostly because like I've gone out for commercial auditions and they'll say, and one of the questions is like, how many followers do you have
Oh wow.
before? And I was like, oh, like now as far as like scripted stuff, I'm not sure how that goes. I'm sure like, that's also different too. It depends on,
Hmm.
who you are, the name kind of thing. But I'm sure that
Right.
plays a role as well when it comes to some of these smaller roles or things like that. So
Got you. Got you. Um, I got a couple more here. The
okay.
if I was, let's say I wanted to consider acting, I'm starting at ground zero, and I'm just like I just love to act, and I think I could kill a scene. You put me in any situation, I feel like I could kill a monologue. Um, what do you think is like maybe like the best first step for somebody that's thinking about moving into acting from absolute ground zero? What do you think?
Yeah. Um, it's funny. I want to say this one thing. Makes me think about in school. One of my teachers used to say, like, if you don't love it, don't do it. And I
Mm.
agree because, I'm reason upstairs, so I love it. So let's make sure you love it. Let's start there. But anyway, maybe you'll learn to love it through a
Yeah.
class or something. I would say, like, go check out a class, acting class. That's where most people get the acting bug from. Go see some shows, stuff like that. And then definitely get some pictures and start trying to find somebody that wants to hire you for something. Maybe you can try to submit yourself to not only auditions but to agents, to short films, web series, things like that, to start getting your feet wet so you're not as green when it comes to like being on set.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, start with class and pictures and submissions. I feel like that's a good way to like get your feet wet, and then once you're in it, you will definitely come across a lot of people who teach you a lot of different things along the way. It's not like no blueprint or like specifics, but I definitely feel like class and getting your marketing material together is like the best way to start.
Got you. You know, I did an
Yeah.
improv class before. I did.
Okay.
Did an improv class. I was terrible. I was terrible. But I tried really hard, and that's what's important. Is that you just try, everybody. That's all they can ask of you is just to try. Um, I had to
And
do a
show
scene.
up. That's it. Try and show up.
Yeah, they put us in like some scenes with like other classmates, and I said some
Mm.
really inappropriate jokes because I was supposed to be I was supposed to be drunk. Like the scene was like I was a drunk teenager coming home, and the young lady who was playing across from me was supposed to be my mother. And she, to be fair, she prompted me by saying, "You were out with that Cindy again, weren't you?" And I said, "Well, have you?"
What'd you say?
I said, "Have you seen the ass on Cindy? You'd be without out with her too."
Not a teenager, damn. You got a bad mom.
Yeah. The that did not go over well in class. Uh, I did not get as. I feel like if it was a black audience, it would have went over a little bit better. That's just my opinion,
Yes, exactly,
but
exactly,
whatever. Um,
exactly, and that's why I love being all black improv troupe because we say black stuff.
oh, there you go. There you go. The people get it when you say it. That wasn't for
They
y'all.
do. Because
It
that's
was.
funny. That's funny.
I thought it was kind of funny.
I thought it was funny.
I think,
Yeah.
and I said it like kind of drunk too, so it was great. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Love that. Come on now. I love that.
um, Thank you, Atika. This has been great. I just have one last question for you. It's the question I ask every guest as we wrap up. And that is, Atika, what is a quote that you personally live by?
Mm. Okay, yes. So I'm going to say this quote. My acting coach said,
Mm.
"Awareness is not action," by Christine Horn. That's my acting coach. Awareness is not action.
Awareness is not action.
Awareness is not action.
Break that down. That sounds deep.
So just because you are aware of the things that you need to do, you're aware of what it's going to take to get to the place you need to get to, you're aware of all the steps, that is not action. So it's never going to happen until you take action and towards your goals. Yeah.
I love that quote. That might be my favorite.
It helps
quote.
for the inconsistent. Yeah, well, I like it.
that might be my favorite quote that I've heard on the show so far. I love it.
It's a good one. Yes.
It's a good one.
I live by it.
Atika, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me.